Hi, thanks for watching NL Video Blog. Today from Los Angeles, and behind me the Capitol Records building. I want to talk a little bit about the music that I grew up with. Because you have may seen that on my YouTube channel I have put out my songs that I've made over the years, and I'm planning to do more recordings again, but I needed a break for a few years to get some new inspiration. My youth has been always around music. From a young age I was very touched by music. I was fascinated about music, and I grew up in a home where music was very important. Mainly my father, he is really a music fan, even more than me. It's really a big passion of him. Even though I consider it also my big passion, but for him it's even like a little bit more. And he would play like classical music at home and also rock music, and mainly gospel rock. For example, Larry Norman, Resurrection Band, Petra. These were bands that played rock music but then with a Christian message. They were Christians. So from a young age I grew up with this mix of music. When I was about 10, 11 I started to develop my own musical taste. And when I was little I remember listening to many songs in my room. Also my father had this cassette for me with classical music. It's called Carnaval des Animo. It's really a great way for children to get introduced to classical music. And I played it over and over again. We also had some other like cassettes with Christian songs for children, and I would love music. Any music that I would hear, I would enjoy it. When I was around 10, 11, I got very fascinated by Elvis Presley. I saw a show on the TV, and I thought it was, great artist. The way he started with music, like coming from a very simple and poor background, climbing up because he had talent. So I got fascinated by that, and that was for me the moment that I also wanted to play music myself. So my father gave me a guitar, I started to learn the chords myself. I was basically wanting to write songs myself. I wasn't really interested in playing covers or like playing famous songs. I just wanted to create myself. I had this urgency to create new music. Because music is so personal, it is also, in my opinion, way more, it's like a form of therapy when you can write your own music. You can put the feelings that you have in it, like happiness or sadness or any feeling that you have. So I started doing that. Also I started to get into more hard rock and metal music, like Stryper for example. Also a Christian metal band, more glam metal. Really amazing band, really talented, but I was more into like more down-to-earth music, like for example punk. I really liked the simpleness of punk. The first punk band that I heard was Crash Dog. It's also like a Christian band, gospel band. And from that moment I knew that, yeah, this is my style. Like this raw and very direct, honest, simple, but straightforward, and raw energy and raw emotions. Not polished or sugar-coated, really from the streets. And around that time, it must be like 93, 94, there was this label, Tooth and Nail Records. So not Capitol Records, but Tooth and Nail Records. And they started to bring out all these underground bands, like hardcore bands, punk rock bands, but also indie rock, pop music, electronic music, anything that was, not yet in the mainstream, or especially not in the Christian gospel world scene, music scene. And they had these awesome bands. I remember Focus was a band, it was the first time that I heard. I didn't understand hardcore at that time. It was like, why are they screaming and yelling so loud, and why is it so emotional? But later there were bands that I started to understand, like Unashamed, Overcome, Zeo, the old Zeo, Strong Arm, Inner Means, all these bands that really have this intense message but also focus totally on their belief in God. And that was cool, you know, they were cool bands and they were totally 100% into their belief and they just screamed about it. That gave me a sense of, yeah, like belonging. I understood these guys. They make great music, like loud and aggressive and totally intense, but they also have this belief that I have and a more conservative approach towards life. Tooth and Nail Records would also have these punk rock bands, like for example MXPX, Crux or 90 Pound Was, and I love these bands. They were, you know, of course punk is another fashion than hardcore, but yeah, I remember for example this band Blenderhead, their first CD was just like so intense and loud, and for that time the recordings were very good. It was like high quality. I grew up with this label, Tooth and Nail, and they were bring out all these kinds of musical styles like ska, like the Supertones, or like Joy Electric, where it was just like analog synthesizer, pop, totally different. They had like these bands like Failure 100 or Luxury or Driver 8, where they would be into more like college rock or indie rock. And I started to learn so many musical styles. And it was a great time. This label had the best years from '94 until I say roughly '99. After '99, it started to decline. They started to become more mainstreamish, you know, emo, core, and all these styles. I couldn't really get into it, where it became too polished and too commercial, in my opinion. But I have this period of time, like these 6 years, 93 to 99, Tooth and Nail Records, they had so many great bands. Starflyer 59 being one of my favorite bands. My music is being influenced by Starflyer 59 a lot. So one of my favorite bands. You should check out especially these earlier records, maybe up until 2008. After that they weren't on Tooth and Nail Records also, but they kind of, yeah, faded away. But now they seem to be coming back with a new record that's sounding like their old sound. Amazing bands, I really love them. Also I could listen to these bands and they were not swearing, they were not talking about all these drugs and beating up people or all these negative things. They were like Christian guys that will be just like me, Sunday in church, live a normal quiet life, but love music, love to play music, I love loud music, but also sometimes love to put their emotions out there. Pop music, like romantic songs. And really a lot of bands inspired me from that label. And I really think that you should check it out, because I think they're bands that are so underrated. You could hear like, wow, these bands, there's no band that sounds like this. They were truly original. Whilst with the more older gospel bands, and metal bands, they will more like try to fit in a genre or try to maybe copy things from well-known bands. There were great bands, absolutely, there were amazing bands, but sometimes it was too much like, oh yeah, they're trying to imitate the other bands. And Tooth and Nail was really for me like, yo, these are original bands. They don't try to sound like somebody, they're just there putting out their music the way they want it. So yeah, that is for me the music from my youth. I also got inspired later by, for example, house and trance music from the Netherlands. I still I'm into that music. Extreme heavy dubstep, extreme deathcore, all these styles I love. I basically like extreme music, like very extreme, the louder the better, like super aggressive dubstep, you know, with all these weird noises. But I also like very romantic music, like classical music, pop music, dream pop, for example. I'm a big fan of shoegaze music. And there's the music in between is like, for me, not really existing. It's like extremes. I like, or it has to be like totally like a dream, like a pop, romantic, like super soft, or I have this intense, aggressive, loud, you know, intense music. Like the extremer the better. Though I must say there's styles that I really don't like, which are extreme. It has to be like, still they have to be, it's the way they are as a person as well, and the meaning of their songs. So I don't like vulgarities or like disgusting music, mainly from the United States. They have this tendency to make like disgusting music. It has to be like intense, but still it has to be clean. I like clean music, clean people. I don't like drug addicts and all this stuff. So that was my musical history in a nutshell. Thank you for watching, and from LA Capitol Records I say see you next time.